Your neighbor's rooftop panels are quietly wasting most of the sun. Even the good ones turn only about 20% of the sunlight hitting them into usable energy. The rest just vanishes as heat. But there's a 150-year-old method that captures up to 70% of the sun's energy, using little more than glass, water, and a curved sheet of polished metal. It's not a scam. It's not a buried secret. Engineers ran entire factories on it before the first silicon solar cell ever existed. They even made ice with it, from pure sunshine. So, if this thing works that well, why isn't it on every roof in America? Stick around. The answer is stranger than you'd think. To understand this, we have to go back, way before solar panels, before the electric grid, before anyone imagined power flowing through a wire. The year is 1866, France. A mathematics teacher named Augustin Mouchot has a quiet obsession. He's convinced that coal won't last forever, a wild idea for his time, and he becomes fixated on one question. Could you run a machine on sunlight alone? So he builds something that looks like it belongs in a science fiction film. A giant cone-shaped mirror, almost like a metallic flower, aimed straight at the sky. Inside it, a sealed boiler. As the sun hits the curved surface, every ray gets bent inward and concentrated onto that single point. The water inside doesn't just warm up, it boils violently. And that steam drives an engine. Mouchot had built a sun-powered motor with no fuel, no fire, no coal. But that wasn't the real showstopper. At the 1878 Paris World's Fair, he wheeled out his solar machine in front of a stunned crowd and used the sun's heat to power a refrigeration cycle. He made a block of ice on a hot summer day, using nothing but sunlight. People didn't know whether to call it magic or madness. Here's where the story should have taken off. But cheap coal flooded Europe, the French government cut his funding, and Mouchot's invention slipped into the shadows of history. Almost. Because the idea didn't die, it crossed an ocean. By 1913, an American engineer named Frank Schumann picked up where Mouchot left off, and he thought much, much bigger. In the deserts of Egypt, along the Nile, Schumann built rows of long, curved mirrors stretching across the sand. Not a toy, not a demonstration, a working solar power plant. It pumped thousands of gallons of water every single minute to irrigate the fields, entirely on sunlight. This was industrial-grade power in 1913, decades before solar panels were even a laboratory dream. And it all came down to one shape, one curve that bends light in a way that changes everything. Which brings us to the part almost nobody understands. Here's where things get interesting. The secret isn't some exotic material or rare element. It's geometry. One specific shape that does something almost unfair to sunlight. It's called a parabola. Picture the curve of a satellite dish or the inside of a flashlight reflector. A parabola has a strange property. Any ray that comes straight in, no matter where it lands on the curve, gets bounced to the exact same point. Every single one. So instead of sunlight spreading out and warming a surface gently, the parabola gathers all of it and slams it onto one tiny line. Now think about what that means. Sunlight on its own is pretty weak, about the strength of a warm hand on your skin. But concentrate the light from a few square feet of mirror onto a pipe the width of your thumb, and suddenly, that gentle sunlight is hundreds of times more intense, hot enough to flash water into high-pressure steam in seconds. That's the whole trick. You're not making more energy. You're just collecting it from a wide area and crushing it into a small one. And this is the part most people miss. Solar panels and solar troughs are trying to do two completely different jobs. A panel takes sunlight and converts it into electricity. And that conversion is hard, expensive, and wasteful. You lose most of the energy in the process. A trough doesn't bother converting anything. It just captures the heat directly and uses it as heat to warm your water, to heat your home, to cook your food. And here's the thing. Most of what we actually use energy for in a house is heat, hot showers, warm rooms, cooking. We burn through enormous amounts of electricity just to turn it back into the heat we wanted in the first place. The trough skips that whole detour. There's one more advantage almost nobody talks about: storing it. Storing electricity means batteries. Expensive, heavy, and they slowly die on you. But storing heat, you just pour the energy into an insulated tank of water or a bin of sand. That tank holds the day's warmth deep into the night, losing almost nothing. No battery, no degradation, just heat, banked for later. So the science is solid, but does it actually hold up in the real world? Let's talk numbers. A standard rooftop solar panel converts somewhere around 15 to 22% of incoming sunlight into electricity. The very best lab cells push higher. But on your roof, in real conditions, that 20% figure is about where you land. A parabolic trough? It can capture 60 to 70% of the sun's energy as usable heat. That's not a small bump. That's 3 times more of the sun actually getting put to work. And this isn't theory. Frank Schumann's 1913 plant on the Nile generated enough power to pump roughly 6,000 gallons of water per minute in 1913, with mirrors and steam. Fast forward to today, and the same principle runs at massive scale. Concentrated solar plants in the deserts of California and Spain use long parabolic troughs stretching for miles, generating hundreds of megawatts of power, enough for entire cities. Then there's the storage side. Heat stored in an insulated water tank can be retained at around 90 to 95% efficiency. Compare that to a lithium battery, which not only costs a fortune, but loses capacity every year it sits there. And the materials? That's the wild part. The core of a trough is just a curved reflective surface and a pipe. Polished aluminum, steel tubing, glass, a bit of insulation. Nothing rare, nothing patented into oblivion. Engineers have known the physics cold for over a century. The math is settled. The performance is documented. The plants are running right now. So by every measure, this should be a no-brainer, which makes the next part genuinely confusing, because if it's this good, something must be wrong with it. And there is. So, if parabolic troughs are this efficient, this cheap to build, and this old, why did the world quietly walk away from them? Here's the uncomfortable truth. It wasn't suppression. There's no shadowy cabal hiding this from you. The trough lost for reasons that are actually pretty boring, and that's exactly why nobody talks about them. Start with the biggest one. A trough has to follow the sun. A flat solar panel can just sit there, bolted to your roof, doing its job whether the sun is high or low. A parabola can't. If the focal line drifts even slightly off target, your concentrated sunlight misses the pipe entirely, and your output collapses. So you need a tracking system, motors, sensors, moving parts, constantly tilting the mirror to chase the sun across the sky. And moving parts mean maintenance. Mirrors get dusty, and a dusty mirror reflects far less light. Trackers wear out, seals leak, pipes corrode. A solar panel has no moving parts and can run for 25 years while you basically ignore it. A trough needs you. It needs cleaning, adjusting, and the occasional repair. For a busy household, that's a deal breaker. Then, there's the climate problem. Troughs are hungry for direct blazing sunlight, the kind you get in a desert. On a hazy, overcast, or humid day, that concentrating magic falls apart because there's no sharp beam to focus. A regular panel still sips a little energy from diffuse, cloudy light. A trough on a gray week in the Pacific Northwest? Nearly useless. But the real reason troughs lost comes down to one word: manufacturing. Solar panels can be mass-produced by the millions, stamped out in factories, shipped flat, and bolted on by one person in an afternoon. Then you plug into the grid and you're done. Troughs are custom, bulky, and fiddly. They don't standardize neatly into a box. So the industry did what industries always do. It picked the option that scaled, the panel, and the trough became a niche. And there's one more catch worth being honest about. A trough gives you heat, wonderful for hot water and warm rooms, but it does not power your TV, your fridge, or your phone. For that, you still need electricity, which means the real question isn't, is it better? It's better for what and for whom. So should you actually build one of these? Let's be honest about it. If you live in a normal house in a normal suburb with reliable grid power in gray winters, probably not. The tracking, the cleaning, the cloudy day collapse, for you, a flat solar panel really is the smarter, lazier, better choice. There's no shame in that. The panel won the mass market for good reasons. But flip the situation, and everything changes. If you're a homesteader, if you're off-grid, or trying to get there. If you live somewhere with strong direct sun, and what you really need is heat, hot water, a warm home, a way to cook, then the parabolic trough suddenly looks like a quiet superpower. Because here's the math that matters. With polished aluminum, some steel tubing, a bit of glass, and a cheap light sensor tracker, you can build a concentrating heat plant in your own backyard for a fraction of what a full panel and battery array would cost. You're not buying convenience. You're trading a little maintenance for real independence. And that's the part the grid never advertises. We've been trained to think energy means electricity, wires, outlets, bills. But for most of human history, energy meant heat. And the most efficient way to get heat from the sun was never to convert it at all, just to catch it. A 150-year-old French inventor figured that out with a mirror and a pot of water. We didn't forget his idea because it failed. We forgot it because something more convenient came along. The question is whether convenient was ever the same thing as better. If this opened your eyes, subscribe. It's the only way ideas like this keep getting found. And watch our Pico Hydro breakdown next, where a tiny backyard stream can quietly power a home for 50 years.